Good afternoon, everybody. It's Max Convexity. Hope everyone's having a good day. Jax is looking at me. I think Jax is having a good day. Aren't you, Jax? All right. Well, the market's not having a great day, but it's doing a lot better than it was this morning. It's bouncing really hard. Probably a dead cat bounce, but in any event. All right. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to look at the heat map, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to have a lot of red on it. Spoiler alert. But we're going to look at the buffer report and see if there's any bright spots, in here. This is a good kind of stress test for these high yield covered call funds. So we'll look at some of the ones we follow and see how they're holding up compared to some of the other ones. We'll look at the Defiance trades for sure. We'll look at the Tesla crash delta neutral trade. Also, I don't know about you guys, but so ZIVB and SVOL, I don't talk about those that much, but they're really good funds that are really steady monthly dividend payers, but they short volatility. So on a day when volatility went from like 25 to 60 this morning, it's back down a little bit, but they could be under stress. So we'll take a look specifically and see how those two are doing. I've done a review on those two. They're good funds. They're interesting funds. Anyway, then we'll also talk about the New Year's baby, the hedge trade, and that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's start with the heat map, just like I said, right? All right. Well, is there any bright spots that aren't inverse? I mean, that's inverse. It's all inverse. Inverse and volatility are the only bright spots. What's UVXY up today? 30%. Look at that. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, anyway, this is what happens. They talk about all correlations go to 1. I mean, when everything goes down at once, or sometimes there's some days when the opposite of this happens. All right. All right. Well, let's take a look really quick. Let's do it this way. I'm just going to go here to some of the really high paying ones. Let's see how these are doing. So NVIDIA down $1.14. But look at AMD. AMD's actually up 42 cents. I saw earlier AMD was up. China's doing well, or China's up. KLIP's up. Now, MRNY doing poorly. Tesla only down 32 cents. That's really not that bad. We'll look at Tesla and crash here in a second. ULTY is actually doing fine right now, only down 24 cents. I mean, considering. Okay, it could be a lot worse. And it was a lot worse this morning. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we'll see if the bounce sustains. So let's look here at the buffer report. All right, so SPY-T, so it's down 1.94, benchmark's down 2.2. Okay. Well, we'd expect JIPY to be doing a little better because it pays a higher dividend, and sure enough, it is doing a little better. Now, JIPY even pays less of a dividend, or anyway, JIPY we'd even expect to be doing better than either JIPY or SPY-T, and sure enough, it is. Now, SPY-I, I would expect to be doing about the same as SPY-T, and it is. iSPY is another one I'd say about the same as SPY-T. Now, iSPY, oh no, I'm sorry. iSPY uses monthly options, okay? No, well, anyway, iSPY is a standout today. I can't explain it. All right, XDTE. All right, so this is an example of where doing their strategy, the way they do it hurts versus the way JEPY does it. JEPY sells options the night before. So that really helps on nights when the market's down big. XDTE comes in and sells them the next morning. But anyway, it's just a different way to do it. XDT does better on up days. I mean, JPY does a little better on down days. Just a different way to do it. All right. So now SVOL is one of those ones that shorts volatility, and yeah, it's not doing well today. It's one of the worst ones on the board. And ZIVB is the other one that shorts volatility, and it's down nearly 10% today. All right, now, so to keep that in context, we're going to look really quick. I'm not saying ZIVB is a bad fund. Look how much ZIVB is up. It's just a high beta fund. I mean, it has a high return relative to the market and relative to other similar funds. Look at SVOL. If today won't blow up SVOL, I'm going to say SVOL safe. Or I'm going to say both of these are safe because today was pretty vicious. But SVOL is definitely, you can tell by the stress of today that SVOL is safer than ZIVB. But ZIVB is still up 55% on the year. I mean, the short volatility trade's been a great trade. The question's always been on these funds, can they sustain a big shock to the system, kind of like we had this morning? So far, so good on those. So good news if you have those. Let's see what else is going on here. All right, let's check Howard Chan's fund. My new buddy Howard, KQQQ. Now he's outperforming on the downside, but it's an aggressive fund. That's, FEPI, same thing. It's aggressive. I would expect the really high powered funds, especially the ones that do monthly options. So monthly options provide very little buffer compared to weeklies and dailies. So I would expect the monthly high powered funds to be doing the worst today. And so I'm also thinking maybe GPIQ, Bally. So let's see how those are doing. GPIQ is actually outperforming its benchmark on the downside. Let's see what Bally is outperforming its benchmark on the downside big time. That it's one of the better ones, with maybe the best one when the market's up. So that's kind of the way it works. IWMY is actually doing fine today compared to its benchmark, doing way better than its benchmark. Now the Bitcoin ones are just having a hell of a time. Look at YBTC and look at Maxi. I was checking out BITO, which is the underline for these. Well, I guess BITO is down 12.4. Maxi's down 11.2. These funds have a little bit of buffer, but man, down 10 or 11%. I mean, kind of similar to ZIVB being down 10%. And it's the same situation. These funds are up so much, it's probably not even a blip on the chart. Let's check it out. Let's check out Maxi versus BITO. Well, actually, yeah, but the Maxi though, yeah, Maxi's up so much that even though it's down today, it's a blip on compared to where it's been, it's still doing great. It's up 142% total return. So those ones that make more during the good times lose more during the bad times. That's kind of what we'd expect. So I guess that's fine. I just wanted to check that out real quick. All right, USOY. We're getting ready to look at the Defiance ones. All right. Well, I think we got the general idea. Look at YMAX is also having a bad day, but it has that Bitcoin exposure, as does YMAG. Anyway, those are also what I would call high power funds. So it's not surprising that they're going to be down on a day like today. All right. So let's go here and check out specifically the QQY. Let's see. I need to zoom back out a little bit to see this one. All right. So these guys sold options for $233, which is the good news. That's great. The bad news is it costs $538 to buy them back right now. They spent $559 Friday. They spent $549 the day before that. Look at these losses racking up 4, 3, 3. Anyway, that's what happens when the market pulls back. It's a lot of money, but at the same time, it's a freaking it's a $225 million fund. So it's about 10%, just like the market. It's going to actually be down a little bit less than the market because when you have covered calls, your exposure to the market is you have buffered exposure to the market. So if the market's down 10%, a covered call strategy or a short put strategy, you'd expect to be down a little less. And I bet if we added it up, it would be. But in any event, it's still an ass kicking. I guess you have to factor in that 3. So the 3s cancel out. So kind of, but it's still down 7, 9. It's still an ass kicking. It's $1.09 on an earnings per share basis. The good news is the dividend estimate is now $4.09. Okay. And if you want to think in terms of old money, of the old dividend, because I still have the historic dividends up here, what it's paid in the past. So on a historic basis, it's $1.36, which is like double what is paid in the past. But that's what happens when you have big volatility events. So go figure. All right. So let's look at JEPY, see what's going on there. These guys sold options for $48. That's the good news. The bad news is going to cost triple that to buy them back right now. They're the same situation. They've been getting killed. They're down $1.10 a share. However, the dividend estimate is $3 in new shares. In old shares, that's $1. I mean, remember, they got 76 cents in April, and that was huge. That was because of a volatility event. In April, the market pulled back 5% really fast. Well, here we are in August, and the market pulled back 10% really fast so far. So it's bounced a percent or two. It may only be bound down 8 or 9% right now. Everything's bouncing, which is good. All right. So in any event, that's an obscene amount of money there because it's a premium on even April. But it's what we'd expect. This shows you this fund's doing its job. So what its job is to monetize volatility. That I'm always talking about how the monthly funds don't get as much buffer, and that's the thing. A monthly fund that the monthly volatility works different than the intraday volatility. These ones that sell options every day, and it's not just Defiance, it's also XDTE and QDTE. They just do it a little different way. And it's also iSpy does a daily option strategy. Okay, so those are going to have more buffer for sure, but they're going to have more, but they're also going to have more problem catching upside. Compared to the monthly options. And that's why I'm saying the monthly ones, I'm calling them the high-powered ones. Bally and JEPQ and, GPIQ, GPIX. Those are your high-powered ones, but those are the ones that are getting slaughtered today. But everything's getting slaughtered today. So in any event, all right. Let's check out IWMY and see what this dividend estimate is. Oh my gosh. So, well, first let's look what's happening. They sold options for 30. It cost them 70 to buy them back right now. They were profitable the first 2 days of the month, but they haven't been the last 3 days. They're down $1.22 also. Dividend estimates $4.28 in new shares, which is in old shares is $1.43. Which actually which is about the same as they've received in April. So it's not just unprecedented for them. USOY for some reason 82. Oh gosh, I just remembered that I forgot to update this spreadsheet. Well, anyway, I'll have it updated by the next time. But let's just look here. Let's look at the chart of USO. These guys, it's a bullish strategy, so we can pretty much tell. So USO compared to where it was Friday is down from 73 to 72. It's not a big deal. It's down less than 1%. So USOY is going to be down not even that much, ideally. Well, USOY is actually even up a little bit today. I mean, but anyway. All right. So compared to where it was Friday, it's compared to Friday's close is actually up a nickel, if you can believe that. So, okay, so that's USOY. So now let's go back here, see what else we need to look at. All right, let's look at the Tesla crash delta neutral trade. Okay, so I updated it really fast here. So now we're down 9.1%, 1.3% today. which is 43 bips lower than the other day. But this isn't getting murdered or whatever. And the yield on cost is still 13% in just 2 months. So you can see the red line is the profit loss, including the distribution, your total return. The blue line is NAV return only, which is still down about 22%. But when you subtract the 13% yield on the cost so far, you get where we're at, about down 9.13%. So so you can see the price of Crash. Crash is since the price is dropping, Crash is going to be making less than Tesla, which is the bullish side, is losing. That's what happens. So Crash is up 1.94, which is great. Now Tesla is down 1.27. So actually, in real time, they're at the pairs is actually up a little bit. This spreadsheet is like 20 minutes behind. So anyway, the market's recovering. The market's recovering. Let's look at the NASDAQ. Oops. It was recovering. Now it was recovering. Watch. So now we're going to probably head back for the lows of the day. Now that happens sometimes. We'll see. Anything could happen. We might just grind sideways for the rest of the day. But I wouldn't be surprised if we take another trip back and check out what's underneath the last low, maybe try to undercut that. We'll see. All right, so let's see what else is on the agenda. The New Year's baby trade is obviously doing really well today. That's the $1 million hedge trade. If you had $1 million account, what would you do with it? And of course, right, your $1 million account would only be worth $900,000 right now, but this option position is worth an extra $68,000 right now. And as time passes, or if the market drops more or volatility goes up more, it'll be worth more. But anyway, this only costs $32,000. So right now, a person can take it off and realize the gain. So I'm making some content on what to do with this if somebody followed the suggestion. I don't know, but it should be some interesting content. So be looking for that to come out this afternoon. I'm going to record that as soon as I get off here. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you for being here, and I will talk to you later.